Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 1, Text 15. Sri Shuka Vacha Samyak Vyasita Buddhis Tabarajarshi Sattama Vasudeva Katayam Te Yajjata Naishtakirati Samyak Vyavasita Buddhis Tabarajarshi Sattama Vasudeva Katayam Te Yajjata Naishtakirati Samyak Vyavasita Buddhis Tabarajarshi Sattama Vasudeva Katayam Te Yajjata Naishtakirati Vaishnavis. Sri Shuka Vacha. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, Samyak, completely, Vyavasita, fixed, Buddhi, intelligence, Tava, of your majesty, Rajarishi Sattama, O best of Rajarshis, saintly kings, Vasudeva Katayam, in hearing about the topics of Vasudeva, Krsna, Te, your, Yat, because, Jata, developed, Naishtaki, without cessation, Rati, attraction, or ecstatic devotional service. Translation. Srila Shukadeva Goswami said, "O your majesty, best of all saintly kings, because you are greatly attracted to topics of Vasudeva, it is certain that your intelligence is firmly fixed in spiritual understanding, which is the only true goal for humanity. Because that attraction is unceasing, it is certainly sublime." Purport. Krishna Katha is compulsory for the Rajarshi, or executive head of government. This is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Imam Rajarshayo Vidu. Unfortunately, however, in this age, the governmental power is gradually being captured by third-class and fourth-class men who have no spiritual understanding, and society is therefore very quickly becoming degraded. Krishna Katha must be understood by the executive heads of government, for otherwise, how will people be happy and gain relief from the pangs of materialistic life? One who has fixed his mind in Krishna consciousness should be understood to have very sharp intelligence in regard to the value of life. Maharaja Parikshit was Rajarshi Sattama, the best of all saintly kings, and Shukadeva Goswami was Muni Sattama, the best of munis. Both of them were elevated because of their common interest in Krishna Katha. The exalted position of the speaker and the audience will be explained very nicely in the next verse. Krishna Katha is so enlivening that Maharaj Parikshit forgot everything material, even his personal comfort in relation to food and drink. This is an example of how the Krishna conscious movement should spread all over the world to bring both the speaker and the audience to the transcendental platform and back home, back to Godhead. Translation again. Srila Shukadeva Goswami said, "O your majesty, best of all saintly kings, because you are greatly attracted to topics of Vasudeva, it is certain that your intelligence is firmly fixed in spiritual understanding, which is the only true goal for humanity. Because that attraction is unceasing, it is certainly sublime." Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Here we see that not only is hearing and chanting about Krishna the best for our personal life, but it's also best for society as a whole. Of course, you could say that society is composed of individuals. So if the individuals are behaving properly, then society is good. There's this dispute, not a dispute, difference of perspective between social psychologists and regular psychologists. The regular psychologists look at a barrel of apples and see that there is some rotten apple here, defective apple there. So they're looking at the individual apples in the barrel. Whereas the social psychologists look at the barrel. How is the barrel influencing the apples? Here we're getting it both ways in Srimad Bhagavatam. What is the best thing for the individual and what is the best thing for society? And you're feeling the impact of Srila Prabhupada's confidence. What is best for society as a whole? Parikshit Maharaj has already asked Shukadeva Goswami, what's the best thing to do for me in my situation. You would think that the proper course of action for him was so obvious. But, as the acharyas point out, in that group on the bank of the river, as Parikshit Maharaj is preparing to depart in 7 days, there was not unanimity of opinion as to what he should do. Because you had all types of yogis, tapasvis, rishis, sadhus from all over the universe they had gathered there. They had made the excuse, we're going on pilgrimage, but they all wanted to be there with Parikshit Maharaj in his last days because they knew this is a monumental event, an extraordinary chapter in the history of spiritual life. But they weren't all pure bhaktas. And Parikshit Maharaj, being a skillful king, knew that. We don't have unanimity in this audience as to what I should do. You know, he made those 2 questions. What is the duty of someone in all circumstances, and what is the duty of someone about to die? And as you all know, those 2 questions are what? Yes, they're the same, because everyone in all circumstances is about to die, whether today, tomorrow, or 40 years. So Parikshit Maharaj understood with his executive intelligence, divine executive intelligence, because he's a Rajarshi, he's a saintly king. He knew not everyone here is of the same accord. They all don't agree. You got salvationists, you got mystic yogis, you've got persons attached to extreme austerities, you've got persons who want to go to the heavenly planets, and you've got some bhaktas. After all, Narada Muni was there. So he's thinking not only of himself, but he's thinking of the whole of society. He's letting Krishna use him to have Srimad Bhagavatam be spoken. The same observation by Parikshit Maharaj about the nature of his audience happened during Shukadev's relaying of Rasa Leela. While Shukadev was beginning to discuss the most confidential part of Srimad Bhagavatam, the 5 chapters dealing with Rasa Leela, Parikshit Maharaj noted, he's looking around the audience. Not everyone here is understanding that Krishna's pastimes with the gopis have nothing to do with the material energy. I see some doubts. So in order to deal with those doubts that Parikshit Maharaj observed in the audience, he asked Shukadeva Goswami some questions. How is it that these gopis are looking at Krishna as if it seems like an ordinary love affair? Is that what it is? We all know that Krishna is immeasurable. He's untouched by the modes of material nature. Yet these gopis are loving him as if he's an ordinary boy. Is that right? How can they get benefit? They're dealing with the supreme absolute truth. They're dealing with Krishna. But what are they thinking? They're attracted to him in something that resembles lust. Can you clarify? So again, Parikshit Maharaj is noticing the nature of his audience, their inclinations, their concepts, their assumptions, and he wants Shukadeva Goswami to address that. So how is it that all of society can be transformed just by Krishna Katha? Krishna Katha requires the right combination, the speaker and the audience. Of course, the speaker can be so powerful as to transform the audience. Sometimes the audience is not optimal. What can you do? Stop speaking Krishna Katha? No, you seek how to impress upon the audience the importance of Krishna. This is what Prahlad Maharaj did in the 7th canto. He didn't have an ideal audience. He had a bunch of kids born of demons. But the Bhagavatam describes that Prahlad was able to transform them. So sometimes you have to create your own audience. You can't just wait around for the Paramahansas to appear. I was speaking in Mayapur earlier this year, I believe, and I was recounting one instruction from Srila Prabhupada that the more sinful the people are, the more service opportunity there is for us. Not that, oh, they're so sinful, what's the use? Oh, we've distributed books in this town for so long. People just see us and go across the other side of the street. The proper mentality is, yes, they're becoming very degraded, but yes, that means more opportunity for devotional service and more of an incentive for me to become more pure. Why can't I convince them? It's my fault. Looked at from another way, it's not your fault if you do your best and you don't make them angry, but you do your best to touch their hearts. It's not your fault. But out of humility, real humility, a devotee thinks, it's my fault. I couldn't persuade this person. I couldn't touch this person's heart. I couldn't inspire this person to engage in devotional service. So in that way, we never think we're doing great outreach. We are powerful preachers, powerful lifestyle transformers, however you want to call it. There's so much more that can be done. And the combination of Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadeva Goswami is showing you the topmost potential. Things are really clicking, so to speak, in their combination. They're the dream team. They're unmatchable. They're showing you what can be achieved, the peak potential of bhakti. And that shouldn't discourage us. Oh, who can be like Shukadeva Goswami? Who can be like Parikshit Maharaj? We're not meant to be discouraged. We're meant to be inspired. If I can just get a drop of what they have, how wonderful that will be. So Shukadeva Goswami is pointing out that Parikshit Maharaj has proper intelligence. Parikshit Maharaj has intelligence that is firmly fixed in spiritual understanding. What's the proof of that? Is it by his dress? Is it by what? It's by his attraction to the topics of Vasudeva. That's the measure of spiritual advancement. And this is what we're aspiring for, to become spontaneously attracted to talks about Krishna. It may seem hard in the beginning. You just want to hear and chant and read because you're supposed to. That's very good. We don't knock that. That's necessary. In the beginning, you take your medicine because the doctor ordered you. Just like I always like to point out, in Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers, in that conversation with Srila Prabhupada and the future Brahmatirtha, he explained what is sadhana bhakti. His definition of sadhana bhakti, rules and regulations guiding your devotional service, might seem very antiquated for this day and age of personal freedom, individual expression, and mass illusion. Sadhana bhakti, what is it? He said it. You have to do it because I said. But when you go to a doctor, that's what the doctor tells you. You want to live? You want to be healthy? Got to do this. Okay, yeah, I want to be healthy so I can enjoy my senses. Yes, what do I have to do? But this is what's going on in the first part of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar Devotion. You get prescribed procedures for executing devotional service so that your spiritual health will return. And how do you know that your spiritual health is returning? The peak potential, the peak perfection is when you can't live for a moment without glorifying Krishna. That's what we're aspiring for. And as we make progress toward that goal, we can know our spiritual health is returning. Our original spiritual health is returning. So we need devotional service performed under rules and regulations. At the same time, we should know that is not the goal of life. Yes, the goal of life is to go back to Godhead. The goal of life is spontaneous attraction to Krishna, but you have to go through the regulative stage, but don't think that is the ultimate. We're talking about Krishna in Mathura. And we keep in mind that in the background, there's always Vrindavan. Thoughts of Vrindavan. Even Shukadeva Goswami, in the midst of describing the incidents in Mathura, because what is Krishna and Balaram doing? They're just strolling around, sauntering. You know this word, sauntering? Just, as Krishnendu gave me the word, swag. They're swag. They've got swag. As the current rappers would say. They're just doing their thing, without, as Prabhupada writes, with no concern for the law and order of Kamsa, doing whatever they like. You could say, in-your-face program. They're causing psychological disruption, taking cloth, royal cloth that was meant for Kamsa, give it to me. Krishna's doing it on purpose to agitate Kamsa. Come on, in other words, you want to kill me? Let's see what you can do. Huh? So, while Krishna is surrounded with his cowherd boys, because Nanda Maharaj made sure that the cowherd boys are surrounding Krishna and Balaram, Nanda Maharaj is concerned for their protection. While they're on their youth offender trip through Mathura, sometimes I read in the news here in New Zealand, like a group of young kids, young teenagers will go on cause mayhem, go into a shopping center or a mall and just smash windows, grab watches, do things like that. So Krishna and Balaram, they're showing we are the supreme proprietors, we are the supreme enjoyers, we do what we like. But you have to understand the context. Kamsa was such a fierce demon. Even the devatas were afraid of him. Even the demigods were afraid of him. So you see it in context. How Krishna is so casual, so carefree, doing whatever he likes. So we've been discussing what happened when he met the washerman, the clothes dyer, and then there's the weaver, and then there's the florist, the garland maker. In every case, I don't think it's going to work. In every case, Krishna is giving something. And he's giving an opportunity as he gives something. He even gave an opportunity to the washerman. He knew this is a demon. We discussed this the other day. Give me some cloth, and you'll get a great benefit. So he's willing to give the great benefit to the demoniac washerman who's the associate of Kamsa. He knew he's not going to respond favorably, but I'll give him a chance. In this way, the acharyas point out, Krishna is showing everyone can see I gave him a fair go before I killed him. And then what about the weaver? He came out and he saw the cloth with Krishna and Balaram and the cowherd boys. He offered some service. And what did Krishna give him? He gave him his next life as an associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whether an associate of Narayan in Vaikuntha or a cowherd boy. Depends on how deep you want to drill down. We talked about this the other day. But he also, this is part of Krishna's program, his social benefit office program. That's what they call the dole, welfare here in New Zealand, social benefit. So Krishna's giving out the dole. Yes, he was pleased by the weaver, but he also said, besides giving you the most exalted position in your next life, right now I'm giving you prosperity, long life, wealth, happy family life. Oh, Jai Shri Krishna. What about us? And then he met the florist, the garland maker, and he asked the garland maker, what benediction would you want? And the garland maker replied, I just want 3 things. And those 3 things are the same as what Pritchett Maharaj asked for on the bank of the river in preparing to leave his body. He asked for 3 things. He announced it. Those 3 things: give me unswerving devotion for Krishna. Number 2, give me friendship with all devotees. Number 3, give me compassion for all living entities. So that's what the garland maker asked for. This was his big chance. He was offered any benediction. He said, just give me those 3 things. And so Krishna gave him those benedictions, but he also poured on him all kinds of material opulence, prosperity, long life, all those things. So what's going on? You might think, why doesn't Krishna give us those kind of things, the spiritual and the material? But this is part of Krishna's Mathura program, just giving whatever he likes to whomever he likes. You can't question that. He wants to give out material prosperity as well as bhakti, he can do that. He just wants to give pure bhakti and no material prosperity, he can do that. What happened to the other Sudama Brahmana, who went to see Krishna in Dwarka? You know the pastime. He was dirt poor. His wife and him were practically wearing rags. Their little hut had holes in the roof. She was pushing him. Remember, you are Krishna's childhood friend. Go see him. And Sudama was very hesitant. I can't go see Krishna for material benefit. His wife kept pushing him. You're a Brahmana. Krishna cares for Brahmanas. I'm not a real Brahmana. You're a devotee. Krishna cares for devotees. I'm not a real devotee. She was right. They were living too austerely. So she was right to push him, and he was also right. We would have to ask our exalted householder Mahajans, Jai Srila Prabhu and Yadobar Prabhu. There must be cases where both are right. She was right. And he was right. I don't want to see Krishna for material benefit. And she's saying, go, go. Because she didn't have enough to feed him. She would take everything that was meant for her and give it to him. So she's urging him, go see Krishna. And he was doing his best not to do it. So the Shastra says they were both right. You think, wait a minute, how can 2 people be right in an opposite way? But that's how deep bhakti is. So finally, he gave in. He thought, well, I'm not going to go ask for material benefit, but I'll use my wife's pushing me to see Krishna just as an opportunity to see Krishna, that's all. So to make a long story short, you know, he met up with Krishna in the palace of Rukmini's palace. And she personally fanned him. He sat on the bed that usually Krishna and Rukmini would recline on. Krishna treated him in such a way. And then Sudama, the next morning, started to leave. And Krishna followed him. That's what the Shastra prescribes for how you receive and handle a saintly person. You follow him to the door. So Krishna followed Sudama a little bit out of the house. And then they parted. Krishna went back to the palace. Sudama continued on his way back home. And what was he thinking? How glorious this has been. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has embraced me, so sinful. And I'm not a real Brahmana. I'm a Brahmana Bandhu, a wannabe Brahmana. He still embraced me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, what are you thinking? Wait a minute now, did you get anything? You bring any money home? What did he say? Krishna is so kind, he's so merciful, he didn't give me anything. Sounds scary, doesn't it? He knows where I'm at. He knows that if he would give me a drop of material opulence, I'd fall down. So he didn't give me anything. How great is that? Of course, you know he was in for a big surprise when he neared his home. What was Krishna thinking? He has given me this chip rice, which is more than anything he has in his possession. Because Sudama told his wife, I'll go to Dwarka, but I have to have something to give to Krishna. Well, they had nothing. So he begged some cheap rice, and he took that. He had to get it from an outside source. He didn't even have in his home the cheapest rice. He just took a handful, tied it in a piece of torn cloth. So, what is Krishna thinking upon snatching that gift from Sudama? Krishna had to snatch it, but Sudama was ashamed. We can't give this. And Krishna's thinking, he gave me something beyond what he has in his possession. I have to reciprocate. But what is not in my possession? What am I going to do? I can't give him anything while he's here in the palace because I'm embarrassed. I can't match him. But when he gets home, there's going to be a big surprise. He'll have more opulence than Indra. So the acharyas give the example of a farmer who does all his yagyas so that there's rain. We need to do a yagya now so that there's less rain, but the plants love it. It's affected our festival. What can we do? So the farmer does yagyas for rain. This is Vedic culture. In Bhakti, we just chant Hare Krishna. Water the tree at the root. So the farmer does his yagyas, and the devatas are thinking, we can't reciprocate enough for these yagyas. So we have to wait till the farmer goes asleep at night, and then we'll pour down the rain, because we're embarrassed that during the day we can't reciprocate properly. So we'll rain at night in a discreet way. So the acharyas say Krishna's thinking the same way. I can't reciprocate properly with Sudama. I'm embarrassed. He gave me something beyond what he has in his possession. What can I give that's beyond my possession? Everything is mine. What can I do? I can't give him anything now while he's in the palace. But when he gets home, he's going to see a most inconceivable surprise. Opulence beyond what Indra has. And what is Sudama thinking? I went all the way to Dwarka. He didn't give me a penny. What's the use of this bhakti? What's it doing for my material life? No, Sudama is thinking, how wonderful it is, how glorious it is. He didn't give me anything. Can you imagine? He knows me. He knows if he'd given me a little bit of opulence, I would have fallen down. I will fall down. How wonderful my Lord is. This is bhakti. So then, my point is, Krishna does what he likes. And he's demonstrating that in Mathura. He's no regard for law and order of Kamsa, and in terms of devotees, he's just giving whatever he wants to give. The devotees just want bhakti, take material prosperity, take long life, take happy family life, take it all. How do you explain that? This is Krishna's Mathura Leela. He's doing whatever he likes. He's Swarat. He's supremely independent. So after dealing with Sudama, the garland maker, now it's time for Kubja, known in Bhagavatam by her other name, Trivikra. Trivikra means she's a hunchback bent in 3 places. Trivikra, bent in her neck, bent in her chest, and bent in her waist. So she's coming along, and Krishna and Balaram see her. And we were talking at the end last night, yesterday morning, how Krishna can be a bit, he's a young teenager at the beginning of his teenage years. He's having fun. So he's being a bit, what we used to call fresh. I think the word is kind of sassy or cheeky or provocative. He sees her. Oh, Varoru. Oh, beautiful thighed woman. Can you imagine saying such a thing? I don't know how it would be received today. Anything goes these days. But that's Krishna's Supreme Personality of God. It's oh, Varoru, oh, beautiful thighed lady. What have you got there? What you have, she's carrying pastes and ointments like sandalwood and other exotic pastes meant for Kamsa. So she explained, what do I have? I have these ointments, these pastes, they're meant for the king. She made it clear, the acharyas say, that she's not in the pocket of Kamsa. She's not one of his kept women. She says, I just supply the paste, I just supply the ointments, the sandalwood paste and so on, and leave it at that, in other words. So Krishna had indicated to her, it'd be best for your benefit that you give the paste to Balarama and me. And she did that. These were beautiful pastes, beautiful ointments. She smeared on the body of Krishna and Balaram. Yellow paste for Krishna's body, bluish paste for Balaram's body. And then Krishna wanted to reciprocate with her. Who is Trivikra? She's an expansion of Satyabhama. She's not an ordinary person. So Krishna decided to straighten her out. She had a beautiful face and beautiful limbs, but she was just a hunchback, bent over in 3 places. So you know how Krishna did it. He's the best chiropractor. Who are our chiropractors here? We have Shaimanga, one and Sangeeta Priya. So Krishna is the supreme chiropractor. Can't compete. He put his feet on top of her feet and then put his one finger of his hand under each side of the face, and he pressed down on her feet with his feet, and he pushed up and snapped her into shape. Painlessly, not like what chiropractors do. How many of you have had chiropractor adjustments? Not only did Krishna straighten out her body, but he infused her with bhava. The acharyas point out, he gave 3 things while he was doing this. He gave Kubja, or Trivikra, Madhurya Ras. He gave the cowherd boys, as we'll describe, a secondary rasa, an opportunity for that. Hasya, laughter. The secondary rasas, as you know from Nectar Devotion, can appear in the foreground for a while and then recede. The main thing is the primary rasa. So the cowherd boys are in friendship, sakyaras. But that friendship can be overtaken momentarily, so to speak, by a secondary rasa. In this case, it was hasya, laughter. Why? We'll talk about that. So he gave Kubja, Madhurya, he gave the cowherd boys a chance to laugh. And the people in general, he gave Adbhuta ras, which is another secondary rasa, astonishment. Like, did you see what he did to Kubja? He straightened her out. She became a stunning beauty, filled with bhava for Krishna. So she wants to reciprocate. So what does she say? I mean, Krishna had already provoked her. In her hunchback condition, and Krishna's called her Varoru, oh, beautiful-thighed lady. I mean, if someone said that to one of our ladies here, they'd run in the opposite direction. But you can't run away from Krishna. So, especially after he transforms her, not only physically, but spiritually. So, what does she do? You can't blame her. She's dealing with the unlimitedly attractive Krishna. She starts grabbing at his upper cloth. Overcome with desires. And she says to Krishna, and this is in front of all the cowherd boys, so Krishna is a little embarrassed. It's a delicate scene, though. At the same time, Krishna feels attraction for her because of her bhakti. So she's pulling at his upper cloth, saying, please come to my home. And Krishna responds, are you inviting me for dinner? Is that the program? She says, no. It's just that I can't leave you. Then Krishna responds, we're in the middle of the street, you know. What a passerby is supposed to think about all this? She said, it's not my fault, it's your fault. You made my mind crazy. You touched me. So what is Krishna going to do? He starts speaking to her, looking at the cowherd boys, especially Balarama. He first looks at Balarama, then he looks at the rest of the cowherd boys, and they're laughing. And Krishna's saying, I gave you a chance to laugh, huh? They're laughing. And while looking at the cowherd boys, Krishna says words for Kubja, that yes, it would be wonderful coming to your home. You're just what a lonely boy needs. You can relieve our mental agitations. We're a long way from home, we're travelers. By that, when Krishna says he's a traveler, he's implying, I've got beautiful gopis in Vrindavan, but here in Mathura, I happen to be alone. So certainly, you are a suitable girlfriend for relieving my mental agitation. But he's saying that while looking at the cowherd boys. So he's indicating two things at once. As the cowherd boys laugh, he's indicating, oh, this woman is kind of a bit too much. She's kind of over the top. But to Kubja, he's indicating, yes. So it's all going on at once. So then Krishna promises, after I deal with Kamsa, I'll come to your house. So in this way, he continues on his tour of Mathura, just casually strolling here and there. The merchants are next. They see Krishna coming. They bring out all their best wares, and their wives are fainting. They lose so much weight, overcome by desire. They lose so much weight that their bangles fall off. Their clothes are becoming loose. They just suddenly lost so much weight just by seeing Krishna in his beauty. They're overwhelmed with desire, and they just stand there like painted pictures. and then Krishna moves on. You see, the way Mathura is laid out, on the outskirts, they're the Brahmanas. And then as you go further into the city, they're the Vaishyas. This is a Vedic system for urban organization. So the outskirts are the Brahmanas. Go further, and you encounter the Vaishyas, the merchants. That's what Krishna is doing now. The Kshatriyas are in the center. He hasn't got there yet. Krishna hasn't got there yet. Krishna is on his way to the gate of the wrestling arena. Evidently, that's in the center of Mathura. So he keeps walking, and he's asking, where's that bow? Because Kamsa has, outside the wrestling arena, a huge bow. Even demigods would have a difficulty lifting this bow, what to speak of stringing it. It was worshipped by Kamsa and his associates. Demoniac persons worship technology as the all-in-all. So this technology was in the form of a huge bow encrusted with jewels, so heavy that devatas, demigods, couldn't lift it. You would think, why? Why does Kamsa have a big, huge bow that no one can lift outside the gate of the wrestling arena? But this is pride in technology, understand. This is his version of AI, something that we could all be proud of and worship. Yes, just see our accomplishments, just see our innovations. So the bow was surrounded by guards. So what does Krishna do? He's on his way. As he's on his way to the wrestling arena with the huge bow outside, the way Shukadeva Goswami describes it, wait a minute. Remember what the gopis said in Vrindavan. This is Shukadeva Goswami inserting and wanting Pritchett Maharaj, the Acharyas say, wanting Pritchett Maharaj to feel the pain of separation that Shukadeva Goswami is feeling, because Shukadeva Goswami is in the same mood as the gopis in Vrindavan. So he's feeling pain of separation. Krishna's left Vrindavan. He wants Pritchett Maharaj to feel the same thing. So right in the middle of this narration, Shukadeva Goswami does a break in the description. The gopis predicted accurately that the residents of Mathura, especially the ladies, would enjoy, and meanwhile in Vrindavan, there would be sorrow. The day would bring great joy to the ladies of Mathura, and it would bring great sorrow for us, the gopis of Vrindavan. Evidently, their priests could successfully arrange for Krishna to be with them. Our priests have failed us. So this is Shukadeva Goswami speaking in pain, transcendental pain. What is this transcendental pain? In Brihad Bhagavatamrita, it is described that the happiness of Ayodhya surpasses any happiness of Vaikuntha. The happiness of Dwarka surpasses any happiness of Ayodhya, birthplace, Dham of Ramchandra, for those who don't know. So what surpasses the happiness of Dwarka? The distress of Vrindavan stands on the head of all the other happinesses. The distress of Vrindavan. What's going on here? How can distress stand on the head of Vaikuntha happiness, Ayodhya happiness, Dwarka happiness? We're not talking about the happiness of Braj. We're talking about the distress of Braj. It stands on the head of the happiness of Dwarka, Ayodhya, Vaikuntha. So Shukadeva Goswami is feeling the pain of separation, and he wants to bring Pritchett Maharaj into that. As he describes Krishna and Balaram's havoc-making tour of Mathura. They're doing whatever they like. They're walking very slowly, so everyone has a chance to see them. They're doing havoc here, havoc there, giving whatever benediction they want. Take material prosperity. Take a form as a cowherd boy. Take this, take that. And now they're asking, where's that bow? So the bow is surrounded by guards, and Krishna pushes his way through the guards. Like a rude teenager. And he walks up to the bow, and he picks up the bow, astonishing everyone. The guards are watching with unblinking eyes. What? He's able to pick up the bow? Huge bow. As I said, not even the demigods could lift it. Kamsa was so proud of his technological development. Krishna lifts up with his left hand, he lifts up the bow. That was number one. Inconceivable. Number two, Krishna strings the bow. And everyone's just... And then, after stringing the bow, he pulls the string and breaks the bow in half. Astounding. So finally the guards snap out of their astonishment stupor, and they decide, we got to kill him, grab him, kill him. At the very least, they wanted to bring Krishna and Balaram before Kamsa and have Kamsa kill them. But meanwhile, they have to do their duty. Kill him, kill him, kill him. They charge Krishna and Balaram. What does Krishna and Balaram, what do? The bow is snapped in two halves, the huge bow. Krishna takes one half, Balaram takes the other half of the broken bow, and they start smashing all the guards. Wipe them all out. How fortunate the guards were to be dispatched by Krishna and Balaram. Doesn't end there. Kamsa hears about what happened. Oh, Krishna and Balaram, the bow is broken. My huge bow, my masterpiece of technological innovation. He sent a contingent of soldiers. Take care of this Krishna and Balaram. Finish them off. So after Krishna annihilates all the guards, he has to face a whole army coming from Kamsa. He wipes them all out too. He and Balaram, holding one half of the bow each, just smash everyone. At this point, it's clear who is really in charge in Mathura. So then Krishna decides, it's evening time. I don't want to go further into the wrestling arena. They're right outside the gate of the arena. But Krishna says, that will be tomorrow. Time to go home to our camp of the cowherd men right out in the outskirts of the city in a garden. Time to go back there and just rest for tomorrow. We're not worried. So they went back home. They didn't go on further into Mathura, and they went back to their carts and their camp, and they had some rice and milk prepared by Mother Yashoda. She sent it along with them on the carts. And then their servants washed their feet, and then they took rest. All the while knowing that Kamsa wants to kill them and tomorrow would be the day. They're just saying, what's the big deal? Oh, Kamsa, let's go to sleep. Meanwhile, what's happening with Kamsa? He heard. They broke the bow, they killed the guards, they killed the contingent of soldiers. I said, oh no, he can't sleep. Kamsa is seeing strong premonitions, omens that the end is soon. Whether he's awake or sleeping, which was very difficult. He's had tough times sleeping ever since Narada Muni told him that Krishna and Balaram are safe and that all the demons Kamsa has sent to Vrindavan have been killed. He's had sleepless nights since then. So it's hard to distinguish the omens he's experiencing, whether they are during his sleep or during his dreaming, because he got very little sleep. So it's very difficult to discriminate. He would see in the mirror, himself with no head. He would see holes in his shadow. When he put his hands over his ears, he couldn't hear his heart beat. He would see golden trees. He would see a naked man covered with oil. All these are inauspicious symptoms, omens. Meanwhile, keep this in mind, he's still making plans how to harass Krsna Balarama. He doesn't give up. This is why at the end of the 7th canto, Narada Muni says, oh, if I could only love Krishna with the determination that the demons hate him. How glorious are these demons? Their intensity, their bhava in hating Krishna. I wish I had that for my love for Krishna. So even though Kamsa is in total distress, can't sleep, seeing all these omens, bad omens, he's still making plans how to finish off Krishna and Balarama. Such determination, if we only had that. So this is Krishna, doing whatever he likes, giving whatever he likes. Who can say anything? So this is why Shukadeva Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj, your intelligence is showing that you're attached to Krishna. And that is the real solution to all problems of life. Your intelligence is showing that you have spiritual understanding because you're attracted to hearing about Krishna. And that's the best thing for society. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that Krishna Katha is compulsory for the executive head of state. Now, you might say, well, when is that ever going to happen? But if you don't know what the standard is, you never know what is real human life. So you might say it'll never happen in our day and age that the executive head of the state is saturated in Krishna Katha. But even if you think that way, at least you know what the standard is. That's the point. Without knowing what the standard is, you have Muni Sattama, the best of the sadhus, the best of the rishis, the sages, that's Shukadeva Goswami. You have Rajarshi Sattama, the best of the heads of state, and their combination is based on hearing and chanting about Krishna. And in that way, as I said, they're the dream team. You couldn't ask for a better combination for benefiting the world. So we are getting the benefit of their combination as passed down through parampara. So when Prabhupada landed in the USA in New York, 1965, I was 15 years old at that time. I had no idea of what the immense, inconceivable event that had happened. He said his confidence was based on the message of Bhagavatam. I know when they hear it, they can be transformed. So we also should have that same confidence. We should aspire for that same kind of confidence. Otherwise, what do we have to offer? What do we have to offer to people? Mindfulness? Mindfulness these days means anything on your mind. Just focus on whatever. You could be a mindful burglar. Just be mindful. That's the solution. Do breath work. Everything without Krishna. So remember, when Prabhupada established the ISKCON Society legally, he called it the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and people, bystanders who were there at that event, said, well, wouldn't it be better to say God consciousness? That would be more attractive for everyone. More non-sectarian, quote unquote. But Prabhupada stuck to Krishna consciousness because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he has names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. Without understanding that, we're impersonalists and voidists. So it is necessary for us to experience attraction to Krishna by hearing about Krishna, talking about Krishna, engaging in Krishna's service. So in the beginning, we have devotional service under rules and regulations. You must do this. You have to chant your 16 rounds. Those living in the ashrams know you have to do your reading. How much reading a day is the goal? That medicine is taken under prescription. That's necessary, but that's not the goal. The goal is spontaneous love of Krishna, when you can't live for a moment without glorifying Krishna. And that kind of bhakti is what Krishna is attracted to, as you can read in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna wants to give that spontaneous attraction. So just remember, Krishna touring Vrindavan, touring Mathura with Balarama, just doing whatever they like, giving whatever they like. Take Mathura Ras. Take material prosperity. Here, cowherd boys, here's something for you to laugh at. Hasya Ras. People be astonished. Adbhuta Ras. Where are Kamsa's guards? Where's the bow? Let me break it. Washermen, hand over the cloth and you'll benefit. This is Krishna and Balarama as transcendental youth offenders. Shuddha, pure hooligans. And then his flirting with Kubja. Oh, Varoru. Beautiful fine young lady. You would think he's maybe being sarcastic because at that point she was still a hunchback. But Krishna's indicating, watch what happens to you. You've already got a beautiful face. You've got beautiful limbs. You just bent 3 places. Watch this. Hare Krishna. Any questions?